Hello, this is my 99 problems assignment for Communication 523, Dark Side of Communication. This is Carley Eichhorn speaking, and these are 5 signs your love is dead. To start off, I'd like to introduce to you what we'll be speaking about today. We'll be talking about intimate relationships, whether those be close friendships or significant others, and knowing and recognizing when those relationships begin to become toxic or fade. If hearing that sentence made you automatically think of a person's name or relationship you're in that may not be the healthiest, then you probably already know you should move on from that. However, recognizing fading and toxic relationships is a little bit difficult. So today I'll be discussing 5 signs of aversiveness, ordered from least significant to most significant, that can help you determine if your love in your relationship is alive or dead. The first and least significant sign of aversiveness in relationships that we'll be speaking about today is erosion of novelty. In the Dark Side of Communication class, it was discussed that this means the passage of time and experience also adversely affects the exciting freshness and sense of discovery. So, in other words, an example of this could be that when you meet a new friend or a significant other, the relationship seems really new and exciting, right? However, after time, that relationship can get really old fast and not seem as thrilling. You begin to notice little quirks about a partner or a friend that start to irritate you, or you get kind of sick of their presence being around you 24/7. Although this is common, it can kind of put a damper on relationships and lead to love dying. Some research done by Emory in 2018 states that certain brain chemicals are active when your attention is focused on the present. However, passionate love is driven by a single chemical called dopamine. This means that when you're first starting off in relationships, many different chemicals are passing through your brain, becoming very excited about something new and exciting in your life. However, when you're truly passionately intimate and in love with a friend or in a significant other type of relationship, your brain is driven by completely different chemicals called dopamine. This is why relationships can often fade fast, and your love and relationship novelty can end up dying. So it's a good question to ask yourself. Is my relationship fading? Is our love dying? Was it just new and exciting in relationship? And are we falling under the sign of aversiveness, erosion of novelty? The second sign of aversiveness we'll be covering today is reduced effort. In class, reduced effort was defined as time we spend trying to please and impress our partner has an expiration date. Relationship maintenance takes work. So a great example for this is if you're quickly to become friends with someone, they're always on time to hang out with you, they respond to your text in an appropriate amount of time, and you can clearly see that you and your friendship is valued. This means that you'll tend to be more satisfied in the relationship. Unfortunately, if over time the relationship begins to crumble and the wonderful friend you once had that showed up on time is now showing up late every time you want to hang out, never responds to your texts, and you feel like you're being undervalued in the friendship, then the relationship is not being maintained effectively. An article by Puff in 2015 offered some tips to help relationships be maintained successfully. Some of these tips are making the relationship a priority, being kind to your partner and friends, and engaging in common activities together. Puff states with these suggestions, one can increase their displayed effort in a relationship, thus making the relationship stronger. So, if your partner is still showing decreased levels of effort, or maybe you're not feeling putting effort into the relationship anymore either, then the love could be dying in your relationship. The third sign of aversiveness we'll be covering today is threat of exclusion. In class, threat of exclusion was explained by stating we make poor impressions when trying to avoid rejection than we make when trying to gain acceptance. So effectively, an example of this would be when humans begin new relationships, they actively try to gain approval and love from the other person. whether it be a friendship or a significant other they're trying to have in their life. When relationships take a turn for the worse, sometimes people get in little tiffs and arguments, or rejection starts to begin being displayed in the relationships. Oftentimes, partners and friends often do not put as much effort into keeping the relationship as they once did to begin the relationship in the first place. An article written by Dean in 2018 shared some suggestions for those trying to maintain good impressions throughout the relationship, even during rejection. These suggestions were: do not give up, have clear and consistent communication, and maintain friendships and hobbies outside of the relationship. With these suggestions, one can continuously make good impressions by sustaining relationship efforts, being an effective communicator, and having healthy relationship boundaries. If a relationship only consists of poor impressions and you keep being underimpressed by your partner or friend, then the love is probably dead in that relationship, and it's time to move on to a different significant other, spend some time alone reflecting, or find some other friendships to surround yourself with. Misplaced expectations and surprises is the fourth sign of adversiveness we'll be covering today. This sign of adversiveness is very significant and can often make or break relationships. In the dark side of communication class, this term was explained as sometimes the pieces of information we learn are unanticipated and undesirable. We may often invest in someone who is later less desirable than they originally appeared. So a good yet very extreme example of misplaced expectations and surprises would be if you were to go on a few dates with a partner and things were looking really good for the future of the relationship. But then on a date, the partner shared that they would enjoy kidnapping children. This surprising and horrid piece of information would probably cause the relationship to end pretty quickly. Typically, misplaced expectations and surprises are not this drastic in relationship, but an article written by Brides in 2017 depends the most prevalent surprise in relationships that ends to divorce and first-year marriages. This surprise was listed as when your spouse gets really sick, your life turns upside down. The same rules apply for both sets of your parents and siblings. So to go off of that, it's really scary and surprising when somebody close in your family or a spouse has a health surprise within the relationship. This is something very prevalent and unexpected in first-year marriages. If there are constant misplaced expectations or surprises in one's relationship, or maybe a really extensive surprise that makes its way into the relationship, the affection and love may die quickly. The fifth and final and most significant sign of adversiveness we'll be talking about today is access to weaponry. Now, we are not speaking about guns and bows and arrows and knives and other types of weapons today. However, we will be discussing verbal weaponry. In the dark side of communication class, the sign of adversiveness was defined as intimacy develops, partners become privy to increasingly detailed and sensitive information about each other. So, for example, if one person in a relationship tells their intimate partner their deepest secrets, their biggest pet peeves, and emotional stories from their life, then that partner knows how to hurt them the most. That partner will then be able to share that confidential information with others and hurt their other partner, or maybe know how to target their partner and tick them just enough off to really, really hurt their partner. An article written by Degas White in 2014 states, if we can't trust a friend to maintain our confidences, then we need to refrain from communicating confidential information or personal secrets. This statement holds for any intimate relationship. If one person uses personal information in an intimate relationship to hurt their friend or partner, or releases private information into the public, that relationship's love will ultimately perish. It is important to be safe with a friend or significant other's confidential information to maintain a loving relationship. To wrap things up, due to normal relationship processes, intimate relationships are really risky. However, by avoiding signs of adversiveness in relationships, love can start and remain to be alive and strong. By understanding relationships and understanding what can kill love in relationships, we all can be better equipped to thrive in successful, intimate relationships. In intimate relationships, friend and partners should have relational realism by recognizing that everything may not be perfect in a relationship, but also the relationship should not be full of signs of adversiveness. It should be a healthy balance. If after listening to this, you realize that your intimate relationship is full of signs of adversiveness, or maybe you've even experienced all kinds of adversiveness that we discussed today, your love for that companionship is probably dead. I'd like to give thanks to all the references that helped me complete and provide information in this presentation. Thank you for watching.